talking today about how to talk to women, how to connect with women, how to deal with women in any kind of environment. All right. No matter what the situation is, no matter where you are, we're going to talk about dealing with women in any kind of environment. Now, a lot of people struggle with this um, because the world has changed a bit. There was a time when it was a lot easier to talk to women. All right. There was a time when it was easier because you pretty much talked to the same women in every environment. So let's go back in time. That's the back in time. Let's go back in time. Let's say it was 1930. In 1930, you would live in the same place your entire life. You would live in the same place, mostly from the day you were born until the day you die. You might move once at the most. But for the most part, you would live in the same place from the day you were born until the day you die. That means that you would interact with the same women. Maybe a few people would move in and out. But for the most part, you would interact with the same women from the day you were born until the day you died. This made it a lot easier to talk to women because you got so many bites at the apple. Yeah, you didn't have the variety. Yeah, you didn't have the opportunity to talk to multiple women, but you got the opportunity to talk to the same group of women over and over again. They got to know you, and they didn't have multiple opportunities to talk to different people. So it's not like it was a situation where when you talk to a woman, she had 55 different dudes to talk to who might possibly be interested in her at any time. Most people lived in smaller towns, most people lived in neighborhoods, and there weren't that many people really there to compete with. Even if you lived in a town with 500 people, 50 of them were not going to be interested in her. Just doing the math, you know. So now what has happened is the world has gone global. That means that people travel all around the world now, all around whatever country you live in, and people also have the internet, which lets them travel around the world from their own house. So they could be sitting in the comfort of their living room, they could be laying in the bed, they could be sitting somewhere, at a table, talking to people who live in other countries. That makes it a lot more difficult for men to be able to approach and start conversations with women. Also, you have the fact that the laws have changed. Let's keep it real. Now we live in a situation where you can't just talk to a woman and strike out and have the same, pretty much no consequence situation that you would have had, back in the past, where you could talk to the girl, she say, "No, I'm not interested," and you just keep it moving. Or you talk to the girl, she says, "No, I'm not interested," and you keep pursuing her for the next 3 years. People did that back in the day. People used to be able to do that back in the day. They would go leave flowers at her house. They would go sing outside of her window. That's a stalking charge now. You're going to jail. Can't do that anymore. These are things that are just not possible. So this is what makes it more difficult for a lot of men to talk to women in any environment. And now we have to be able to do it in pretty much all environments. Otherwise, you pretty much don't have a chance. If you're not able to talk to women in pretty much every single type of environment, your chances are limited. I mean, yeah, it might happen for you, but the chances are a lot lower than they were a while ago. So that's why I'm going to talk about that today. I'm going to basically help you guys figure out how you can navigate the situation with the rules the way they are. We can't necessarily change them, write your congressman or whatever, but we can't really change that. We can't change the access that people have to other people. We can't change the fact that people move. We can't change the fact that there's an internet. None of that can be changed, but we can learn how to navigate the situation so that it benefits us. What's up, James? Oh, that's okay, man. He said, I'm sorry you missed the live, man. That's cool, bro. Don't even worry about it, man. Thanks for coming out to this one. All right, who else is here? Give me a shout out if you're here. You can show some love to the chat by, I guess you could just send me a cash app at Chazz Ellis at Ask Chazz. That's Ask Chazz on Cash App. Uh, or you could just say what's up, show me some love, send me an emoji, like, put a comment. That tells YouTube that people are following me. That tells YouTube that people are interested in this information. And I want y'all to make sure y'all get y'all pads and pencils out because this is going to be important information, especially if you've been struggling just to really approach women and talk to them. All right. So you're going to be able to talk to women in any environment after you watch this. What's up, Elder? Ender, what's up, man? Uh, I hadn't seen you in a while. Appreciate you for coming out. So you're going to be able to talk to women in any environment after you watch this. And I'm going to tell you why. You got to get your pad and your pencil out or, write it down or type it in your computer, notepad, whatever you used it to collect information. You can record, whatever. All right. There are only 4 environments. Only 4. You might think there are a lot more, but as I explain them to you, you'll get it. Okay, the first is social. Social is basically anywhere that's not work related that you're supposed to connect with people not for a dating purpose. So church is a social environment. Um, Conferences that are not work related or that is a social environment. Um, oh, game night somewhere, something like that. Okay, that's a social environment, not for the purposes of dating, not for the purposes of work. Then you have recreational environments. Recreational environments are basically like the gym, the beach, places where you have recreation, basketball court, tennis court, baseball diamond, just places that are not designed for you to work, not designed for you to necessarily date, and you do something somewhat physical, some type of recreational thing. The next thing is work. Obviously, work is pretty self explanatory. That's where you do your job, that's where you make your money in some kind of way. It doesn't necessarily have to be your job, but it's somewhere that you make a source of income that would be important to you. So it could be a job, it could be your Forex meetings, whatever. I don't know. So that's your work. The next thing is dating. These are your dating environments. This is your club, your bar, um, stuff that everybody goes to date. Places where every single person who is there is pretty much there to date. And if you said you weren't there to date, people wouldn't believe you. So if you told, like, say your girl told you, hey, I'm about to go to the club, you would think she probably there looking for a man. Even if she tried to tell you she wasn't, you wouldn't believe her most likely, right? So that's why it's a dating environment. If you told your girl, hey, I'm about to go to this bar real quick, hang out, she's going to think that you're trying to talk to some women because that is a dating environment. Whether, you're there to date or not, that's just what it is. So everybody expects people to be trying to hook up. Pay attention to these things because it's going to matter. All right? Work, dating environment, recreational environment, social environment. The difference in these places is going to control your approach. The first thing I'm going to cover is the dating environment. The reason we're going to cover that first is because in a lot of cases, this is the most difficult. For most people, this is the most difficult environment to talk to women, to approach women, to make any kind of connection whatsoever. You can at least get friend zoned at work. In dating environments, a lot of times you can't even do that, right? So, as I discuss this, dealing with a dating environment with you, what I'm going to do is we're going to pretend like you're starting at zero. All right. Like you can't talk to people, you don't have any money, you're not attractive physically, uh, you name it, you don't have it. Okay. You basically just barely got enough money to get into the bar in the club. I'm not going to tell you how to talk to people at these dating environments if you don't even have the money to get into those places, because then you need to work on your career or something if that's the case. So dating environments can be very tricky because they're a meat market, right? You go to a dating market, it's high competition. Well, I want to say this too. What I'm not going to talk about right now is I'm not going to talk about the internet. The reason why I'm not going to talk about the internet is because they still fit in the same categories. Like if you go on Christian Mingle, was it Tinder, any of those apps are a dating environment. If you go on social media, those are social media environments. If you go on LinkedIn or something like that, that's more of a work environment. Okay. But we're not going to go into those. The reason why we're not going to go into those, somebody said, what type of environment is Walmart? Walmart is going to fit more into social, possibly recreational, because when you're at Walmart, you're not necessarily, it's not necessarily like you got to meet up with people, but you're there just kind of doing very basic business. Everybody crowds around at Walmart. You're going to run into other people there at Walmart. You're supposed to say hi to people when you see them. You don't have to, obviously, but you're supposed to, interact with people. People expect some level of interaction at big spaces like the mall, Walmart, Kroger, A&P. If you say hi to somebody there, they're not going to be like, "Whoa, what the?" But if you try to talk to them there, they can just be like, "I'm not here for that." You're not getting paid. Now, if you work at Walmart, then obviously it'd be your work. But if you don't work there, it's just kind of a social environment. All right, so we're not going to go into the internet. We're not going to go into the internet, and the reason we're not going to go into the internet is because we got to learn how to talk to people in the real world. A lot of times, what's happening now is people are totally 100% internet. And the problem with being totally 100% internet is it really puts you in a situation where you're more likely to get turned down. You're more likely to be disqualified. These dating apps, I mean, they're cool to a certain degree, but they're a different animal in and of themselves because basically, if you don't fit every little, you know, check thing on the checklist, it's going to be a rough uphill battle, right? If your pictures don't look amazing, if you don't check the certain height, if you don't check the certain amount of money, it's going to be an uphill battle. You can still do it. Don't get it twisted. We can do that for sure. But what you want to be able to do is you want to take the advantage of being able to talk to people in a public space. If you can do that, it's a cheat code. You got to one up on all the dudes that can. And there is an increasing number of men who cannot talk to women in public spaces. That gives you an advantage. Anytime somebody can't do something and you can, it gives you an advantage. All right. So when we go into a dating environment, the first thing we want to do, if we're starting from zero, you want to pick a spot and you want to go there over and over again. I would suggest for you to take yourself to a club and go to that club. And I know it's going to sound crazy and it's different. It's going to be different depending on where you're starting at. We're saying if you're starting from zero, can't talk to people, don't have any money, looks not really on point, nothing. You got nothing. It's going to take you probably about 3 months of going to the club every weekend. to make this happen. But once you do it, the opportunities that you're going to have every time you go to any club are going to be totally different. It's going to be night and day. So this is what you want to do first. Pick a club, one that you can stand, one that you're at least somewhat comfortable at. You don't got to be super comfortable, but just somewhat comfortable at it. Just go. For the first couple of weeks, all you need to do is go to the club every weekend. If you can go 2 days a week, great. All you need to do is just show up. And when you need to do a little bit of homework when you show up. When you show up, what I want you to do is write the songs down, record the songs, just get an idea of what songs they play at that club. Get an idea of how people dress when they're at the club. Get an idea of the people who you see, the women that you see who kind of dance with everybody. Because, there are going to be some women who frequent that club every single week. You're going to look at these people and you're going to say, okay, which women dance with everybody? Which women are the most social and friendly? You don't got to talk to them. You don't got to do nothing interactive with them. Just watch. Just sit there, and chill and just kind of look around. You're not going to look like the coolest person in the world. That's why you're only going to this one club to do this. That's why you're just going to keep going to the same place. All right. As you go to that club throughout that 2-week period, what I want you to do is start talking to people that you feel comfortable with that are safe. These people can work there. Bartender, waitress, they have to talk to you. They work there. So ask her for a cranberry juice. Don't buy alcohol and drink it. The reason why I'm telling you not to start drinking alcohol there is because it becomes a social crutch. Okay, somebody asked, would it help if you go with friends? If you can find a friend group, an accountability buddy, go with somebody else. If you can find two, I wouldn't go with any more than 2 friends though. This is not a project that you want to take 5, 6 people with, because as you get down the road on it, it becomes more difficult the more people you bring with you. So 1, maybe 2 friends. All right, you want to go to the club. As you're in the club, just chilling and hanging around, talk to safe people. Yo, bartender, waitress, all you got to do is order your drinks, order your food, whatever. Just have a conversation with them if you can, but it can start small. When you start doing this, it's going to make you more comfortable. It's going to help you warm up. Remember the songs I told you to record. Take those songs home and practice dancing to them. Don't worry about what other people think about you. Don't worry about how you might feel this is lame or whatever. If you play basketball, you would shoot baskets by yourself, right? You would work on the playbook, right? If you play football, basketball, you will work on the playbook. If you box, you shadow box. You move around the ring, you hit the bag. You work on your craft, or you suck. You show me somebody who doesn't practice shooting by themselves, I'll show you somebody who can't shoot. There's no way you'll be able to shoot if all you did was shoot in the game. It's not possible. Steph Curry put up he's got to make 700 shots. That's Steph Curry. It's a reason why he make them shots in the game. So you want to make sure that you practice the dances. Just practice dancing to the songs. Okay, here, you don't gotta be the best dancer in the world. You don't even gotta be good. Just the fact that you feel comfortable enough to move to the beats of the songs. All right, as you've been going there, just observing the environment, talking to more and more people you feel comfortable with, people that are close to you in close proximity. It don't even got to be women. It could be guys that you see there. Hey, what's up, bro? Somebody you see there over and over again a few times. Start talking to people. Just expand your environment of people you talk to. Once you've been doing that and you get about a month in, once you get a month in, now you got to make your new objective is to ask one girl to dance every single time you go to the club. I didn't say dance with a girl. I didn't say get her number. I didn't say go out on a date with her in the future. All you need to do is ask one girl to dance. Why have we, this is why we worked our way up to this. See, this is what a lot of guys don't understand. You have to put yourself in a position where you're comfortable in an environment and you are ready for what comes up. If you didn't practice the dances to any of the songs, you wouldn't be able to ask any of the girls to dance because you don't know how to dance if you're starting from zero. So this is why we're learning this. All right. When you ask somebody to dance, it can be somebody that you saw dancing with everybody. It doesn't have to be somebody that, just came there, you never saw her before. It could be a girl that you know probably won't say no because you've never seen her turn anybody down a day in your life. Okay, that's the person you dance with. Now you get comfortable. You go out there and dance. If you see her there every weekend for a little while, dance with her. Now you want to move up to asking 3 girls to dance. It could be girls you see there all the time who never say no. It could be girls that you see to dance with people that you think would be like downright disgusting. It doesn't even matter. Just get in the rhythm of dancing, get in the rhythm of talking to people. These people see you at the club all the time because they go there all the time. That's cool. Now, this is what's going to happen. Once you get to doing that and you're dancing with 3 girls every time, pretty much, or trying to dance with 3 girls every time, and maybe you'll probably end up being successful. Because eventually, if you keep doing this, you will be successful. You will be successful. What's going to happen is you're going to start seeing new girls come into the club, women who have never been in that club before, or women who only come maybe once every 3 or 4 months. They don't even remember you from the first time they saw you. And when they see you in this club, in this environment, you're going to be the master of this environment. You're going to have this environment known and understood like the back of your hand. When they come here and they see you in this club, it's going to be a whole different ball game than how you've ever been before. So they're going to see that girls dance with you. They don't know that these girls dance with everybody. How would they know? They don't come to the club. They're going to see you talking to everybody. They don't know that you worked your way to being able to talk to each person, one person at a time. How would they know? They don't come to the club. They've never been there a day in their life, or maybe they've only been there once every 3 or 4 months. So they haven't seen your progress. They don't even remember you from the first time they saw you. So when you go to this club, from now on, you are now a guru at the club. You are now a master of the club. That particular one, maybe not a club anywhere else in the world, but you are a master of that particular club. And any woman that sees you at that particular club is going to think you are the man. Because she's going to see you dancing with people. She's going to see you talking to people. She's going to see you high-fiving people. If your crew has been going there and working with you, you got these guys, 2 guys or so working with you, it's going to seem like you guys just got it together because they're going to be doing the same thing if you're all accountable. They're going to be spreading their wings and talking to people. So between or among the 3 of you, you're going to know pretty much every single person that frequents that club. You're going to know the bouncers. You're going to know the DJ. The DJ might even be shouting you out after a while. Yo, what's up? That's my man on the dance floor. What do you think? What effect do you think that's going to have on any new woman who doesn't know you? It's going to be incredible. Now, when you decide to go to other clubs, it's going to be easier at those clubs because all you have to do is piggyback what you did at the first one. Okay, this is what I did at the first club, but now I know the songs and the dances because I already practiced those. I already know how to ask girls how to dance because I did that at the club I was super comfortable at. I already know how to talk to people. I know how to order a drink. These are things that I know how to do because did it at the club that I go to all the time. But the difference is When you go to these new clubs, these people don't know you. All they know you for is where they saw you first. You and your homeboys come into the club, y'all, what's up, DJ? What's up? This, even though you don't know these people, you're so used to doing that you guys look like Superman at the club. You guys look like the coolest dudes in the whole world at the club. And any girl that meets you there is going to think, wow, who is this guy? That's how you master an environment, and you use that environment in order to take over other environments. If you're trying to pick up Latinas, you not need to learn the salsa, especially the ones that salsa. Yeah. And it doesn't take much. The thing is, a lot of the things you want to learn how to do don't really take much. And you can it helps if you learn to salsa. It helps if you learn specific things with specific cultures. But even if you don't know it and you just can move around, it's still gonna be way more effective than the average dude who doesn't know how to move around at all. You got to remember, you're not competing with the top 1% hardly ever. Not in the real world. In the real world, you're not competing with the top 1%, because the top 1% is only talking to maybe two or three girls in the whole place. Normally, you're competing with somebody who is the version of you that walked in that club the first day. Most of the people you're competing with are operating from zero or somewhere close to it. That's the reality of it. You're competing with a bunch of dudes that are afraid to ask girls to dance, afraid to talk to people, and you're dealing with some guys who are a little bit more comfortable talking to people. But most of them don't look any better than you. Most of them don't have any more money than you, don't have any more status than you. They just people who started talking to girls. So in most cases, you're really not in a position where it's going to be difficult once you get to the point where you're not afraid to handle your business. And when you can really accomplish that in the dating environments, especially the club, that's where I would say to to start at, because just jump right into the fire. If you do that at the club, you could do it easy at a bar because you don't really have to dance as much, not as much noise, not as many people just floating around. It's even easier. Any other dating environment you ever go to, speed dating, anything else you ever try to go to, it's going to be 10 times easier when you go to those places because you have mastered dating at the most difficult place. So the next thing we're going to talk about is the most risky place. Has anybody got any questions about the club first? The dating environments. Anybody got any questions about the dating environments? Before we move on to work. All right. When we start talking about the work environments, work isn't really that hard. It's not that hard to connect with a woman at work. The problem is that there is a certain element of danger in connecting with women at work. If you see somebody every day, every other day, multiple days a week, whatever, it's going to be easy to connect with that person. But obviously, if you strike out, striking out could be an HR complaint. Striking out could get you striking out could get you fired. Shit. Okay, what am I okay, we're going back to this. What are your thoughts on the direct approach at the club? The direct approach is the only approach you can use at the club. I'm glad you brought that up. The direct approach is the only approach you can use at the club. You're not going to be able to go to a club and beat around the bush to try to get a girl to dance with you. Could it happen? Of course. Anything can happen. But it's not going to be successful on a consistent basis. And you may try it 100 times and never be successful. You're going to have to go up and ask the girl to dance. You're going to have to go up to her and show interest. If you are in a dating environment, the only thing you can use in a dating environment is a direct approach. Any beat around the bush, try to go back and forth type of approach, that is not going to work in a dating environment. It's going to make it seem like you're shy, lame. Even if you are shy, you can't seem like that in a dating environment because they're generally not looking for somebody who's afraid to talk. This is why we're doing what we're doing and putting ourselves in a position where we're so comfortable that we can easily make a direct approach. Maybe not when we first get there, but as we work our way into it, we can. That's a great question. You're going to have to use it. Okay, James just said something that was real. He said, "I took my licks in the cold in the." He said, "I took my licks in the cold approach world. I felt like I had to. Being scared of talking to the girl doesn't get you the girl." Absolutely. This is the thing. If you are not willing to go out there and improve your ability to talk to women in the real world, if you're not willing to do that at all, what's going to end up happening is it's going to keep rearing its ugly head, even if you do find a girl who is somewhat interested in you. The fear of rejection that you have is going to always stop you from pulling the trigger. So you could have a girl who really shows interest in you, likes you, and all that, but you're so afraid of getting rejected that instead of talking to that girl, instead of making the connection or making the next move, you're going to stay maybe in the friend zone. You're not going to, you're just not going to even get to that point. You're going to struggle because you're afraid of rejection. The best way to deal with this is knock some of the fear off by becoming familiar. So just taking baby steps to direct approach. Like that's why I said talk to the bartender, talk to the waitress. When you start talking to people, now you take baby steps to the direct approach and you get to it. All right, when we're in the work apartment, when we're in the work environment, what we're going to have to use is an indirect approach. You cannot use a direct approach in the work environment. Why can't we use a direct approach in the work environment? HR, harassment, getting fired, possible jail time. These are not things that we want to risk to go out on a date. Okay, that's stupid. You never want to risk going to jail. You never want to risk your career and your livelihood. What you want to do, and you don't need to be direct in the work environment because you're going to have multiple bites at the apple. And being direct in the work environment can be a problem because you might think you like the girl and then you find out stuff about her and you realize you don't like her. So, and now you had already asked her for a number, told her she was beautiful, you know, all this type of stuff. Now you got to deal with that crap. So you want to go indirect at work. What you want to do at work is, depending on how big the environment is, you want to get into the girl's inner circle. So you want to talk to people who talk to her. This gives you an opportunity to get into close proximity. So if you guys work, she works 3 cubicles over, she talked to Lisa over there in accounting every single day. You want to start talking to these people. Hey, what's up, Lisa? How you doing? You want to start talking to some of the guys that work around her. You want to start getting into that inner circle if you're on the outside looking in. It's going to be a lot easier to talk to the people that you're not interested in. If a lot of times we get nervous maybe because you're talking to a girl that you have interest in. But if you talk to the people around them first, and now you just get into a regular conversation, where they happen to be involved, it's going to be a lot easier to say something, maybe not the first time, but maybe the second, third, or fourth time. So you want to get into that inner circle. Once you get into the inner circle, you want to start having more isolated conversations or more conversations that are directed towards her. So y'all all sitting there talking, man, don't you hate Monday? Because they got all this work that they put on our desk for us. This some bull crap. Yeah, man, me too. I hate Monday too. Blah 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 blah. And then you go, dang, don't you get like 5 reports to put in on Monday? And say that to her. Say something specific to her that doesn't even come off as anything to anybody, but kind of single her out a little bit. See if she interacts with you and makes the interaction more about you. So a lot of times, a girl who didn't even necessarily find you attractive when they first met you, this is real. You ever see people who just seem off in terms of their physical appearance, and then you find out the dude doesn't even have money or anything like that? He doesn't really have a whole lot of game or anything. A lot of times what happens is the backstory is they met at work, they met at school, which school counts as work because it's somewhere you got to go. The payoff is your grades, that kind of thing. So school counts as work. So a lot of times what happens, they meet at school, they meet at work, they meet at that environment where they're constantly around each other. And the reason why it happens most of the time is because he starts off talking to the group, then he starts talking to her, then he gets her comfortable with him. He gets her comfortable with him. Then they start having a casual relationship. So, yeah, I'm about to go eat a sandwich. You want to go get one too? Yeah, let's go. Not a date, nothing like that. You may not be in a position where you can get that with this girl, but if you talk to her, hang out with her all the time, next thing you do is you make the conversation deeper. So instead of just talking about superficial stuff like work, what's your favorite show, you start getting into deeper and deeper conversations so you can make an emotional connection with this woman. As you do that outside of work, now you start getting closer in proximity and see if she is going to be willing to break touch barriers. A lot of times, if you're just really close to somebody and you're sharing intense, heartfelt moments with them, the touch barriers get broken by them because they become comfortable. Then she starts putting her arm around you and you return. She starts rubbing on your arm. She starts laughing and laying up against you. These things start happening. This is how affairs happen at work. If we keep it in a book, it's not always, oh, this person was so handsome. Oh, I just had to have him. A lot of times we were together all the time. The conversation went from group to singular, from casual to intense and intimate. And then the touch went from casual touch, psh, let me smack you on the arm a little bit, to now I'm out here laying all up on you, um, kissing all up on you and all this kind of stuff. Now we in bed together and I'm throwing it back for a real one. All right, let's go back to the comments and see what we got here. Sometimes I ask a girl for what she is doing after the club. I tell her I only live about 10 minutes away and if she would like to come and chill. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Well, the thing about that is if you're at that point already and you're not at zero, clearly. So for you, just do it more often. I would be careful about inviting people to my crib right away from the club. Um, just because, there's some nut jobs out here in the world. And some of these girls, once you start smashing a lot of them, they just, it's harder to get rid of them. And if they know where you live, that's kind of rough. So just, take a little time, make sure the chick's not crazy. Sorry, guys. I believe in giving a girl at least a day or two of talking to her before you invite her to your house because she might be crazy. Chaz, can you talk about the signs women give when they're interested in you? All right, look. a lot of this, the signs type of stuff, most of the time, if a woman is interested in you and you're looking for a lot of signs, people talk about choosing signals and things of that nature, they may not even exist in the beginning. That doesn't mean that a person has no interest in you whatsoever. It really means that they don't know you exist or they don't even know that you're interested in them. So all you really want to look at for signs of attraction is some level of reciprocation. If a person is doing the same thing you're doing back to you, so if you ask her a personal question and she answers and then asks you a personal question, there's interest there. If you get closer to her in proximity and then she returns by getting closer to you, there's interest there. It doesn't have to necessarily be on the front end. This is why when you're at a work environment, you take the indirect approach. You give yourself a chance to just take baby steps towards her that you can always deny. So if I start talking to you and ask you about something, and you be like, "What? Why are you asking me about that?" Yeah, I didn't ask you anything crazy. I just asked if you had a stack of papers on your desk on Monday. If you were like, "Why are you asking me about my papers?" Because I was asking people about work. So now you know that that's not the person for you, and you haven't really risked anything because she can't say you did anything. So as far as when, just to be specific for you, as far as signs of interest, all you're looking for is reciprocation. That's it. Is she reciprocating the same energy and effort that you're putting in to making a connection with her? If that's the case, she's interested. She may not show any interest beforehand. She may have never talked to you, never looked at you, never looked in your direction one time. That doesn't mean that she's not interested in you if she's willing to reciprocate. Sometimes they just don't know you exist. Sometimes they're shy. Sometimes they don't want to look thirsty in front of the work environment, school, or social environment, whatever, either. So that's a lot of times what it is. That's a good question. These are real good questions. All right, before we go on to recreational, let's see what we got. I don't like hitting on women in places that I have to see them all the time because if things go bad, you will still have to see them. You're absolutely 100% correct. That's why I talk about only using the indirect approach if you're doing it at work. Most of the time, if you're going to talk to a woman at work, I'm going to say this too. Let me say this. I'm glad you brought that up, John, because I'm going to try to say it in a, I don't know how to say stuff in a nice way, so I'm just going to say it what it is. Make sure the chick is bad. Make sure she's somebody that you would want to date long term if everything worked out. Make sure that her personality is fire from what you at least saw, on a superficial level before you even make the effort to do any of this. Because if you decide to talk to somebody at work, this got to be somebody. This is the end all to beat all, basically. Because if you want to keep working there, it's not like you're going to be able to holler at 3 or 4 different chicks that work there without eventually getting fired or then making your work environment a living hell. So if you're going to talk to a woman at work, it's got to be somebody who is fire. It's got to be somebody who is worth it. It's got to be somebody that if things worked out, you might be willing to take down the aisle. It's got to be to that. I don't mean to oversell it. I don't mean to use hyperbole, but I'm telling you, it's got to be something like that. If it's just somebody that's like, oh, she cute, she cool, I guess, mediocre type thing. If that's all it is, go find that girl at the club. Go find that girl at Walmart. Go find that girl at a picnic or a barbecue. Don't find her at work. Don't be at work messing with chicks that you just want to bust down. I hate to be crude in that way, but I'm just calling it what it is. Don't be at work just trying to talk to chicks that you just want to bust down. That's a good way to make your life a living hell. That's a good way to get fired from your doggone job. That's a good way to just look like a weirdo at your job to where people are not even comfortable with you. Don't do it. If she's not top notch, Don't even think about it. Thanks for asking that question, John, because that really brought forth that because I might have, neglected to tell people that. So good. Do not do anything like that unless you know for sure it's going to be what's up. If you live in a small city, you end up seeing girls from work in the club. Yeah, that's so true. So if you live in a small city, that's going to happen. You're going to see the women from work at the club. You probably don't want to try to get at them at the club unless, like I said before, that's that dime that you've been wanting to talk to, and you looking at her like, yo, she's a baddie, she's cool as hell. Everything about her is the next 10 years of my life. If that's the case, then yeah, make it happen. If not, avoid her at the club. Talk to someone else. Maybe pick another club. All right. So the next thing we're going to talk about is recreational environments. So your recreational environments, that's like your churches, that's your gyms, your just different social, just different no, not churches is not the recreational, but your gyms, your beaches, tracks, just stuff where you would do like the lake where you would go jet ski or something like that, tennis court, places where people generally go to try to get in some type of shape, have some type of little fun, family type of environment type stuff. So if you're at these places, you can use a direct or indirect approach at these places because they're low stakes. Yeah, once you find a good gym, you probably don't want to go to another one, but you still can go to another one. It's not like that's the only gym in the world you can go to. So you can go to some you can remove yourself from the environment. Sorry, you can remove yourself from the environment if you needed to. So it's not that big of a deal. But if you use the direct approach, obviously, if you're in that environment, you have the possibility for certain levels of embarrassment, getting called out, things of this nature that can happen, things of that nature that can happen in that type of environment. So, not a big deal though, because you don't work there, you don't make your money there. It's just somewhere you go and just have fun and enjoy yourself. So it's not a big deal. You can go indirect or direct. Most of the same things that you would use at work or you would use at a club will work there. So if you're at the gym, same thing. Go to the gym every week, 3 times a week or so. Talk to people at the gym, get to know people, learn all the machines. You get what I'm saying? You starting to understand this? You learn all the machines. Now you become more of a gym expert after a few months. Once you do that, it's going to be a whole lot easier for you to connect with women in the gym, especially women who are just coming into the gym. When you're in the gym and you look like you know what you're doing in there, you look like you got mastery of all the equipment. You would be surprised how many times people will ask you for advice or ask you for some type of help, or people will just get on there and just start talking to you about working out. Women who you would never even thought would talk to you, when you wouldn't even thought would be interested in you, you would be surprised how often they will make the effort to make connection with you just because you've gone to that gym so many times and you've been able to really master it. It's the same thing if you go ride jet skis. It's the same thing if you go to the track. It's the same thing. Any of these environments, once you master them to a certain degree, now if you want to direct approach a woman, hey, what's up? You on this machine over here? Oh, that's dope. Yeah, whatever conversation you want to have with her about that. Oh man, this one got my legs hurt. You know what I mean? I can tell you don't skip leg day. Whatever, whatever way you want to take it, you can do that because now you become a master of the environment. You can't do stuff like that when you just walk in. I wouldn't suggest direct approach at a gym or something like that if you have not mastered the environment. and you're not super comfortable in the environment because it's going to be clumsy. You're going to stumble around with it, and you're probably going to get turned down. So you can use direct or indirect whenever you are in a recreational environment. Same thing is true with social environments. The same thing you did with the dating environment, you can do with the social environments. In recreation environments, you can do the same thing you would do at work. Get into the proximity, get into their circle, all of that, no problem. So that's why we use these last, because they're just really the easiest ones. Once you've mastered the dating environment and the work environment, all you have to do is apply those same principles to social and recreational environments. The stakes are a lot lower. The competition is a lot lower because most people are not there admitting that they're trying to date. So easy work after you figure out those other two. All right, let's see what we got. What do you think on hitting on waitresses or shop clerks? Yeah, hitting on waitresses and shop clerks. When somebody is at work, it can be a little rough. It's not your job though. If you want to talk to somebody, a waitress or a shop clerk, the thing about it is you can use the direct approach or indirect approach, really just depending on how often you want to come back to that place. So if you know you go to this restaurant every week, you might want to go kind of indirect. If you know that you're not going to be at this restaurant ever again in life, or it's not somewhere you frequent, it's not even in the city you live in, go direct. And the way you go, the way you're going to be able to go direct is whether she's giving you any type of signs that she's interested in you or not. That's really not that relevant. I know that sounds crazy, but the thing about it is the person could be interested, or the person may not be interested right now because they don't know it's an option. So what you do is you present the option. Hey man, do you work a long shift here? Uh, yeah, I usually work like 12 hours. Dang, you work 12 hours on your feet like that? That's crazy. Yeah, I just be want to take a rest and get down and relax. Well, so what do you do for fun then? Like, if your feet be hurting, like, what do you do for fun? You getting the conversation going. She might say something she does for fun. Oh, actually, even though my feet be hurting, I like to go dancing sometimes. You know what? We should do that together. I've been known to cut a little bit of a rug myself. You know what I'm saying? I'm no John Travolta, but I'm no Omarion, but I know, what I'm saying? You could say, just have a little playful banter with the person and just directly ask them out. You could take the indirect approach and come a few times and just have this same conversation over a longer period of time, whichever one you want to do. But yes, you can definitely talk to people at shops. You can talk to waitresses. A lot of times they get hit on a lot, but it just depends on how you do it. It depends on the level of confidence you do it with, and if you have something that's somewhat original to say. You got the playful banter down and those type of things. If you're gonna do waitress or clerk, you got to be able to get the playful banter down enough to stick out from the crowd, because there's going to be a lot of dudes that try to hit on her. And if you're going to do a waitress, you got to tip well. Any tips on how to be charming? Uh, Without, at the risk of sounding like an after school special, be yourself, but just be the best version of yourself. And this is what I mean. If you're funny and you make people laugh, that's what you lean on, make people laugh. If you're smart and you have witty comments and knowledge, use that. If you got both, use both. If you're just kind of sweet and a little nerdy, that's cool. Do that. Play the nerdy game. That's because that's who you are, and you're really sweet. You're like, dang, I never really say this to anybody, but you are really beautiful. Now, a lot of girls are going to be like, if you don't get the hell out of my face with that lame stuff. But if that's your personality and you want it, the reason why most people don't succeed with that kind of thing, the reason why most people don't succeed with that kind of thing is because they already have low self esteem. And they only did that to put the person on a pedestal so the person would talk to them. And when it doesn't work, they start becoming angry and frustrated. But if you sit there with a waitress, she's like, wow, you are really beautiful. No, I'm not trying to, I'm not saying it like that. You're really beautiful. I'm sure people tell you that all the time, but I just decided to just say that to you. She's at work. Unless she's just a really bad employee, she's not going to trip and turn her nose up at you. If she does, that's not somebody you want to holler at anyway. She's at work trying to get a tip. You say she's beautiful, and instead of saying, "Oh, thank you" or something like that, she starts acting all stank. It's probably not somebody you want to talk to anyway. In most cases, she's going to be like, "Oh, thank you," and if she's interested, then she's going to match it. Oh, you're not too bad your damn self. Okay, okay. Let me let me keep rolling with this. Do you think looks beat game? No, not at all. No. All looks do is give you a shortcut, but it doesn't get you to the destination. What ends up happening, this is what looks do. If you take a person who is super good looking and you take a person who is, let's say ugly, like no one's universally ugly usually, but let's say like low level, right? Physically. And you take a person who is extremely good looking. Initially, what's going to happen is whenever the good looking person walks into the room, everybody is going to be like, wow, I hope this person talks to me. I hope this person gives me a chance. I hope this person comes up to me. But if the person doesn't have game and they can't really come up to the person, then a lot of times the girl just looks at the guy and they never connect and they never meet. If you take a person who's not that good looking, a lot of women will look at that person and be like, man, I hope he doesn't come up to me. I hope he doesn't try to talk to me. But a dude with game already knows his situation. Like, this is what I look like. So when I talk to these women, I'm going to do it in a direct way in certain environments, in an indirect way in other environments. But either way, the way I'm going to do it is I'm going to present myself in a way that gives the best of me with, even though they might not like certain things. Like, I'm going to come up silly. If I, like, say I don't think the girl's going to be attracted to me and I see her at the club, she's dancing with her friends. And I'm like, okay, if I go up to her, she's gonna think I'm unattractive. Her friends are probably gonna say I'm ugly and all this kind of stuff. So how do I talk to this girl, even though I know she's not gonna want to deal with somebody like me? Okay, that's her initial feeling. She doesn't know me. She just knows what I look like. So what you do in that situation is you could come up on the silly tip. What's up, ladies? Yeah. Where you're not really trying to dance with any of them, and you might come up with some kind of joke with the girls. Like I could tell y'all at a bachelorette party, so, just something like that where you're keeping it funny and lighthearted. You're not even trying to, you're not even just directing it towards them. You might say that toward them. You're like, yo, what's up, DJ? Spin another one. You're talking to all these different people, and you just seem life of the party, like the big jovial dude is just having fun, right? It's not necessarily a situation where she directly sees that you want to date her. And then all you got to do from there is turn that into a physical moment that y'all can have. Like, say you're at a club. Now it's a physical moment. Y'all might be dancing together kind of silly. You might come up to her. You like my man was talking about salsa. You might come up to her and start hitting her with the salsa. And she's just enjoying it because you may be the only person in the club who knows how to salsa. She may not be physically attracted to you like that, but you're not trying to get all up on her or anything. You're just having a fun moment. A lot of times you can turn those fun moments and those laughing moments. Most women will laugh their way right out of their drawers. Yes, physically they got in their mind who they want to be with. But when you start making those other connections in the mind, in the heart, and in the spirit, a lot of it's the same way that the physical connection can die because you don't make those connections. The connections can cause the physical to be there, where they're willing to sleep with you and deal with you, especially women, because a woman is more. It's always going to be more about what's going on in here than anything else. It's always going to be more about that. They're not going to tell you that, but it is. So yeah, in the long run, for sure, and sometimes even in the short run, game can definitely be looks. Yo, what's up, Simply Deep? What's good, man? What are your thoughts on race and dating? Okay, I find I do better with black and Latin girls than any other race. Uh, the thing about race and dating is it's kind of dating is niche. I'm glad you brought that up. Dating is niche, and what that really means is I don't give a damn who you are. You're gonna always do better with some group of people than you do with another. A lot of times it's just easier to categorize that by race, but a lot of times it's more of a cultural, socioeconomic, uh, more of that a personality type thing that is often attributed to a certain group of people. So a lot of times you might do better with girls who like silly guys, and maybe for you that's been black girls a lot of times. Maybe you sometimes you do better with girls who like the real sweet types or something like that. And maybe for the most part that's been the white girls that you've dated. A lot of times it's not as much about race as it is nailing down the personality types that like you the most. Nailing down the cultural groups that like you the most, the socioeconomic level that likes you the most. And yes, you have one. There's groups of people who like you the most, who will see you at a high level. And there are groups of people who, no matter what, will not see you at a high level. Sometimes there may be some racial element to that, sure. Sometimes it's a socioeconomic thing. Sometimes it's a cultural thing. But sometimes it's a personality type. But yes, for sure, there is dating is niche. The problem that a lot of people run into is they meet a couple girls that don't like them, don't find them attractive, and they decide for the rest of their lives that no women like them. They decide that no women like them based on, I talk to a lot of guys like that grow up around certain groups of people, and they tell me about stories about middle school and how they got talked about or they got dissed by a couple girls in middle school. And after that, they just feel like no girls like them. They can't get girls. And I'm like, it's not that. Those girls at that middle school did not like your ass. And it probably wasn't even all of them. It's probably just the ones you tried to talk to, the ones you probably felt like you had the most in common with, the ones you probably felt like you should connect to the most. They probably liked you the least. You cannot you cannot assume just because you come from the same background as somebody that you're the type of person they're gonna like. You have to pick people based on what type of person you most evenly and easily connect with, not necessarily the person that's like you. Because you may not be able to connect with somebody who should be like you. You might come from the suburbs, but all you listen to is rap music. You got a grill in your mouth. Uh, Well, you're probably not going to get as many suburban women. Or maybe you will. Maybe you come from the suburbs and you're really suburban. And for that reason, there's so much competition around you that you're not getting women. Maybe you might go to the hood, or you might go to the trailer park, or you might go to the barrio, and you might be able to get all the women there where the women in your own neighborhood don't even like you. It happens. A lot of times it's better to go to a place where you can stick out because you're different. That's a shortcut a lot of times of finding your niche. It's going somewhere where you are not. Like go to a club where you are underrepresented. If you got dreads and gold teeth, don't go to the dread gold teeth club all the time. You might go there like whenever, but don't always go there. If you like to wear khakis and cardigans, don't always go to the khaki cardigan spot. Maybe you don't want to go to the dread gold teeth spot, but go somewhere in between. Somewhere you feel safe, but it's not just people who look like you. If you look to your left and your right, and every single person in the club looks like you, and you're not the most handsome, uh, most what do you want to high status, coolest, richest person in the room, you're not probably not going to be that successful in that environment. I'm just being real with you. You want to go somewhere where you look to your left and right, and you're one of maybe one or two people who are like yourself. Because it's going to be a lot easier a lot of times in that environment because it's not like you got so many of yourself to compete with. Okay, I'm glad you said that. I've noticed that I get rejected more when I approach women that are higher up the economic scale. It's like the lower on the ladder there are, okay, the more direct I can be and quicker say. I mean, yeah, if you try to look for that, a lot of times that is the case. Hey, a lot of times there's some people that's doing bad out here that's willing to do something strange for a little piece of change, or they just looking to have a good time. That happens. Hey, whatever you're looking for, you got to also take that into consideration. What level of effort am I willing to put in? And if I used to talk to this dude that I worked with, and he was like a self-proclaimed trick. So he would always be like, "Yeah, man, while y'all taking these girls on these dates and everything, I just give them $40. Let them get their little nails done or whatever, and that's it. Let them buy a little something to eat or whatever, and they good." And I just consistently do that. I was like, "What?" But that's the type of person he would deal with. He would get with a girl that was on Section 8, doing bad, struggling, and throw her $40, $50, and it was on and popping. Hey, to each his own. A fair exchange is no robbery. You can find a niche where you can get exactly what you want from the situation. They want that. They're cool with it. Hey, why not? All right. I want to thank y'all for coming out to this live. I'm going to do it again next Thursday, talking about a different topic. Make sure you like if you didn't. Also, if you want to share these videos with somebody or tell them to come on here too and check me out on these lives, make sure you do that too. Once again, it's your man, Chazz Ellis. Peace.